don't know there is an election and they think things are going on business as usual, tell your neighbors, tell everyone that you know you got to get out and vote. Right. One of our biggest problems is that we don't vote enough. And when we don't show up, you know, elections get hijacked and you don't get the people you want. You got to participate in every election. I always say to myself, as far as for black folks are concerned, it's not an option voting. It's not an option for us. We really, really have to vote. If anybody should be voting, we should be first in line and last in line at every election, no matter how big, no matter how small, if it's dog catching. Go to the polls and vote. Can't stress that enough in College Park. You know, when I've lived here about 15 years, and Reverend Love, Concerned Black Clergy, came into the city and really kind of woke us up as to some of the things that were going on. And Tracy ran for office, and they supported Tracy, and I supported Tracy, and we got him elected. He was the first African-American elected in that ward, and they said it was impossible to elect a black person in that ward. And we went in and went along Godby Road and got in these apartment complexes and did it with the help of people like Reverend Love. You know, so you never know where getting involved can lead to. Because I sure didn't think I was going to be on the city council. I had no interest in getting into an elected office at all. But they just kind of pulled me on into it. And the next thing you know, I was running. And so it's very important to get involved. You know, this state is really, you'd be surprised with some of the stuff that's going on down at the Gold Dome. We don't show up there enough. And they're transforming and changing things right now to the point where you would be really shocked and amazed with some of the things that they plan on doing. Next year, they're planning on turning this whole tax system from an income and property-based tax system to a consumer-based tax system. And I don't know if you understand what that really means, but I'm gonna say it again so y'all really understand it. It's gonna go from a income and property-based tax system to a consumer-based tax system. That means the folks that own the property and make all the money are going to stop paying the taxes. And poor folks, the consumers, are going to start paying taxes. You know, when you walk into a little convenience store and buy a bag of potato chips for $1, you pay about 7 cents in tax. What's going to happen, though, you're going to go in that store and pay about $1.25 in tax. And when you walk out, you just paid the owner of that store's property taxes with your chips. So when you don't participate and show up, I'm telling you, you wake up one day and you'll be very surprised with how some of the changes can occur, because we're not showing up, we're not voicing our opinions, we're not calling our congressmen, our senators, our elected officials. We really got to get involved. So, and it starts on the base bottom level, because you guys elect us, and we call the other folks and demand, my folks said don't vote for this. You know, so we gotta all work together on this thing, but it starts at the local levels. So I cannot stress that enough. And November 8th, polls open at 7 p.m. Please show up. We got advanced voting, I think starts October the 17th. So you can go vote at City Hall in person at the clerk's office. So cannot stress it enough. Make sure you tell folks that this is an election. It's important that we vote in every election, because we'll be complaining when the laws come down that we don't like, and we're the ones that don't vote too much of the time. So a lot of the times it's hard to complain when you don't participate. Make sure your neighbors participate and your relatives too. So that's all I got. Thank y'all.
Amen. Let's give Councilman Carter, Joe Carter, young man who's doing a great job. By way of the occasion, in other words, why are we here? We're here because of what we call the 3 N's, I-N. The first N is information. The second N is inspiration. And the third N is involvement. That's the reason we're here. We're here to share some information. We're here to give some inspiration. And we're here to make opportunities for involvement. So by way of information, that's the reason that we're here. We will share some facts. You know, sometimes how many have ever been in a class where the professor had a lot of facts, but they were so dry until you fall asleep, and that although you had information, that you weren't inspired. And then sometimes you have somebody who maybe was not that intellectual, but they could inspire you. And so, but you need both. You need information, and you need to be inspired. And then when you're inspired, you can be involved. One of the things that, for instance, that got me involved is the first time when I started working with SCLC, and I went to the Selma, Alabama. How many of you have not been to Selma, Alabama? If you have not been to Selma, Alabama, raise your hand. If you have not been to Selma. Okay, good. Come right on in. Come right on in. Everybody ought to go to Selma at least one time in their life because I was inspired. But we're here for what we say the 3 N's. The first N, I-N is what? Information. The second I-N is what? Inspiration. And the third I-N is involvement. And that what we want to do tonight is that we will share some facts with you, okay? And that we will also have some preaching. And that the preaching is the what? Inspiration. And then we would have some things for you to do in terms of actual involvement. It's 10 minutes to 7. Is that right? Okay, 10 minutes to 7. And that we want to bring the preacher up. We want to bring the preacher up by no later than 10 after. And then you know, you can't put the brakes on preachers sometimes. The Holy Spirit. But I got the mic. And so we want the by 7:30 that you know, he would have gone into his hoop and it's already to come on down. And then we will go into the third N is the involvement. We have Brother Jean Ward. Did you know Reverend J.C. Ward, who was, that's his grandson? Oh. Yes, indeed. And so we wanted to do. Now, let me just go over some information with you. What is our mission? We talk a lot about mission. What is the mission of the Voter Empowerment Collaborative? And I always use the example that when I was in the Air Force, we were in basic training. And so they were talking about the mission of the Air Force. In churches, we have mission statements and whatnot. But the clearest example of a mission that I have been told and stuck with me, the instructor said that, do you all see that airplane? And, you know, the airplane, you know. He said, yeah. He said, the mission of the Air Force is that whenever you see a plane get off the ground, it has accomplished the mission. That's the mission of the Air Force. So it's measurable. And then he would wait to another airplane. He said, you see that airplane? It got off the ground. So the Air Force has accomplished its what? Mission. It's something that's measurable, and even then somebody said, well, what about the plane coming back? He said, no, there's no guarantee for a plane coming back. Because when they leave and go on their mission, mostly they bombing and stuff like that, there's no guarantee that they'll come back. But you know, when the Air, and now my job was I was enlisted as a clerk typist, and I was in the equipment management office. But it gave solace to me, although that you may not have thought it was significant. What I was doing, when I saw an airplane get off the ground, I could say, well, I helped the Air Force to accomplish its mission. Now, what does that have to do with us here tonight? We have a mission as the Voter Empowerment Collaborative. This is our mission. We want every citizen to know that Tuesday, November the 8th, is election day. It's that simple. What is our mission? To inform everybody, and we want every citizen in Georgia to know that Tuesday, November 8th was election day. Now we just family. Is there anybody in here that did not know that Tuesday, November 8th was election day? Is there anybody that did not know that? Everybody here was aware of that. All right. So when you ask somebody, hey, when is the next election? They say, oh, with President Obama. Because most people thinking that 2012, because that's what you hear in the media. And so then that would give you the opportunity to do what? Accomplish our mission and say, but no, Tuesday, November 8th is election day. And then we know that we have accomplished our mission. Most people that I come in contact with, you are the exception. Most people are not aware that Tuesday, November 8th is election day. Now, the other part of our mission is to make sure that people know what's on the ballot. How many of you have heard of Splosh? How many of you have not heard of Splosh? Raise your hand. If you have not, okay. And that's the reason we're here. Splosh is the acronym for Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax. Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax. Now that's going to be on the ballot Tuesday, November 8th. Now what is Splosh all about? It's for a continuation of the 1% sales tax that goes for schools. Goes the Fulton County school system as a Splosh. Now on you have in your package the language that will be on the ballot. Now, the city of Atlanta has a Splosh because they have their own school system. But we, in College Park, we come under the Fulton County school system. And so on your ballot, it will be whether or not you want to continue to have the 1% sales tax that goes for the school system. Now, we are already in the 5 years. 5 years ago, they had the first Splosh. So we talk about the chips, or whatever you go to Wang's, that you pay 7 cents sales tax. But 1 cent of that goes to the school system. So they're at the end of the 5th year. And so what's going to be on the ballot is to whether or not we want to continue the 1% sales tax that would go to schools. Now, Councilman Khan is going to give you a little bit more information about that. The first I-N is what? Information. And so that's what we want to share with you. That's what's going to be on your ballot. Now, also, the Sunday liquor sales will be that will be on the ballot. Have you heard anything about that? Okay. How many have not heard anything about the Sunday liquor sales? If you have not. And that's the reason we're here, is that now information, we said that our mission is to let everybody know that what? Tuesday, November 8th is election day of this year. And then we also want to let people know what's going to be on the ballot. And so we know that the what? Splosh. Somebody said, what is a Splosh? Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax, and it will be on the ballot whether or not we want to continue to have the 1% sales tax that comes from when we buy things from the store. Information, that's the kind of information that we want to impart. The other information is that, and it's on your paper, here he comes, you can hear it, Casey. Councilman Tracy White. Also on the ballot, not on the ballot, but Monday, October the 17th, and that's not far from that. Monday, October the 17th will be early voting. In other words, that one doesn't have to wait till Tuesday, November 8th to vote. We can start with what we call early voting. and that you have on your paper where you can go and get and vote. You can go to the 141 Prior Street downtown, or you can go to 5600 Stonewall Tail Road, or you can go way up to Sandy Springs if you're so inclined. But I remember when Councilman Wyatt ran, he had most of his votes even before election day because of early voting, and that he really worked all the Embarcadero and all of that area. So my point is that Monday, October the 17th, is early voting, and it concludes on Friday, November the 4th. So early voting is from Monday the 17th through Friday the 4th. So this is information that we want to get out. And so don't wait necessarily till Tuesday, November the 8th, that you can go and vote, but you can only vote at these 3 locations. Are there any questions so far? We're talking about what? Information. We're talking about information. We say that our mission is to make sure that everybody that we know is aware that Tuesday, November the 8th is election day. Also, we want to let everybody know what will be on the ballot, and that we say the SPLOSH. Who remembers what SPLOSH stands for? Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax. And somebody said, what is all this SPLOSH about? What would you say?
It's about the tax, the 1% tax that goes towards the Fulton County School.
Very good. You got it, sister. You got it. You got it. And that that's the long and short of it. So information, and this is the kind of information that we want to impart with you. Now, my time is coming to a close, but you have a voter registration form. We want everybody to have a form. Does everybody have a form? Who does not have a form? Does everybody have a form? All right, now what we want to do, and that we want to take 2 minutes. Now, I know that you are registered, but do you know that as we speak, there are more than 500,000, that's a 500,000, African Americans, 18 years and over, right here in Georgia, who are unregistered.